Estamos de volta com Linha de Chegada, entrevista especial com Nelson Piquet e Nigel Mansell. Falar agora um pouco sobre aquela temporada de 25 anos atrás, 1987, uma das maiores disputas da história da Fórmula 1. Nelson, 25 years ago since that amazing season, when you signed with Williams in 1986, what did you expect from your competition against Mansell?
Well, I saw Mansell from the Formula 3 on. He'll be a good driver. When you are a good driver in one category, if you go up, you go be good driver in another category, of course. Of course, when I enjoyed me, I had a little bit more experience than him. You know, I came from more time in Formula 1, for my years more. And in those times, this make a lot of advance because, like I said, it was more what you feel the car, what you talk with the engineers. Apart, one bad thing for me was he already was in the team, and I came in the team that he knew everything already. And actually, we have a good years together. And like I said, sometimes his car breaks down, sometimes my car breaks down. By thinking I deserve more win 86, and he would deserve win more 87.
Yes.
86, I have a better condition, but my car stopped for twice for engine failure and all those things. And 87, I have this accident in Imola, and I was no good anymore. I lost a lot of deepness in the view. I could not tell because if I tell, people take me out of and I was driving behind all the time. I could not drive.
No one
in the
knew.
front.
Who did you talk to about this?
Nobody. I talk in the end of the year, but I was every 2 weeks I was going to the hospital in Milano in Aeronautica, how called this hospital and the flies the Air Force italiana.
Vacuum.
Huh?
Vacuum?
No, the Air Force, Italian Air Force. And I was
Italian
going every 2 weeks there to do a test.
Okay.
You know, and I was improving. But in the first months, I lost more than 80% of deepness of seal. I could not. I have to look the number plate of the braking, and it was very good to drive behind somebody, but I could not drive in front. And that was 87. 86 was like I said. I think if everything was good, I should win 86, and Mansell should win 87.
Nigel, you started to catch everyone's eye in 1985. The following year, you had many wins. You got close to the title. How was the competition against Piquet back then?
Yeah, no, it was incredible. I mean, 86, we should have won the World Championship at 86. I lost by 1 point when the tyre exploded in Adelaide. But, you know, that's motor racing. But we were racing at one time. There were 7 world champions racing together. So a lot of great drivers and a lot of different teams could win. But as Nelson just said, the biggest thing then in the 80s was the reliability. I mean, I remember in 86 as well that I was winning the Austrian Grand Prix and was very comfortable, and the drive shaft broke. So from winning, you don't finish the race. And when you lose at the end of the year by just 1 point, it's quite difficult.
Harsh.
Yeah, it's very hard. 87 was a very difficult year for me, the way it ended in Japan, because I had a very bad accident. But I mean, Nelson won in 87, which was very good for the team. And but you know, motor racing from the 70s to the 80s, and certainly from the 80s to the 90s, is all totally different.
We'll get back to the accident in Japan in a short while, but Nelson, back to your accident in Imola. How did you recover? When did you feel you were good again?
Never.
And still you won?
I finished more race for me. I went for the money afterward.
Yeah.
You went for the money, but you feel Felipe Massa is experiencing something similar to what you did after the accident?
I told right in the beginning, well, he's getting better now, but I think if you hit your head very, very hard in Formula 1, you lose a little bit of the precisement, a little bit of, no, I don't know to explain, but you lose a little bit.
Sharpness.
Yeah, of you have to get. Yeah.
So in '87, you won 6 races Nelson won 3 races, and in the last race in Japan you had that accident. Looking back, do you think it could have been different? The accident could be avoided or something?
Yeah, well, I think all drivers want to avoid all accidents, but the back end just stepped out at the wrong time, and it's just typical. I mean, you know, now, not necessarily in Japan, some of the corners are the same, but probably 99% of the other circuits there wouldn't have been an accident. They should have just gone off the circuit and driven back on. So that was the difference, and it broke my back in 3 different places. And I'll never forget the accidents in Japan, not for the accident, because I was in hospital in intensive care. And I had 2 people either side of me in the night, and they both died either side of me, so I just watched.
That same night?
Yeah, it's pretty ugly.
How do you remember the accidents?
Yeah, I mean, quite vividly. I remember the back end coming around. I tried to catch it, and it was too late. Then you just go off, and then you're just on a ride. The unfortunate thing, when the car came down, it came down on top of a curb. So the curb hit my backside, and I had about 76G up the spine. So the spine just went like that.
And do you remember all that? You were awake all the time?
You remember everything, but you can't breathe because your spinal cord goes into shock and concussion. You have spinal concussion. I wouldn't recommend it.
Were you afraid? Did you think you could die there?
Oh yeah, well we knew that because Nelson's career and my career, I counted 24 of our teammates or people who raced together with us who are not with us anymore. And when you think from 1994 to here now, there's not been one fatality, thank goodness. You know, it's a big step forward in driver safety and circuit safety.
The tracks are different today. There are escape roads. It's safer. For the pilot, it was much harder before.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Nelson testifies to the fact that, I mean, just like the accident he had at Imola, you know, the drivers suffered some really hard accidents, didn't they? And you know, in years gone by, if the barriers would have been moved back just sort of 10 yards or 20 yards, we wouldn't have had the impact that we had.
Well, what about you, Nelson? What do you think about the escape roads, the guardrail?
Well, it's a good improvement. Like I said before, it was much more difficult. If you go out, you have a big accident. You know? After Imola, for example, after Senna had the accident, after I have the accident 5 years before in the same corner, and Berger have the accident after they changed the corner, make a chicane, you know. But after 3 big accidents, they change everything.
Did you start to drive differently after the accidents? Not just your vision, but were you afraid of having another accident or something?
Well, sometimes you after the accident you suffer of they call, well, let me translate that, a short skin, you know, because you make like this, and your leg go up.
And
the English interpretation is the brain fights the right foot. The right foot wants to push the accelerator down, but the brain...
It's not being the brain, it's your ass.
Now that was the problem. He's always had his brain in his ass.
What was the best moment in '87 and the worst for
Best
both
moment?
of you? Yes.
The one that he shunts.
Yes, nice.
Well, the accident must have been the worst for you.
Yeah, no. The nice is having an open relationship with Nelson. You know? But yeah, it was a terrible time for my family, because when I got released from hospital and went back home, I couldn't walk for 6 weeks because my legs were paralyzed. So, yeah, it was a tough time, because I didn't think I'd ever drive again.
But you knew you would walk again?
No, I didn't. I didn't know at all. I was insured at that time for tens of millions of obviously pounds, and we had a specialist come from London, which was an insurance specialist, and he tested me and said, you know, how am I doing? I said, fine, because drivers always say they're fine, because obviously we want to get back in the car and do the job again. And he was sticking needles in me and testing where I could feel the needles. So every time I saw him do that, I was saying it's fine.
But you were not feeling anything.
And then he said, well, you know, shall we do it again? I said, what do you mean, do it again? He said, and he pulled the bedclothes back, and I got needles sticking all over my legs. I didn't feel any of them. So, yeah, it was a tough time, but just takes a little bit of time, patience, and perseverance, and you sort of bounce back. But no, there's been some very difficult moments to recover from.
What about the best moment? Maybe in England?
The best moments is always winning, but I think standing in Hungary on the podium with Ayrton and winning the World Championship in '92 was probably the ultimate moment when you fulfilled your childhood's dream of becoming a world champion.
Back then, when you had this great competition between the two of you, what was the strongest quality you saw in each other?
Well, for me, with Nelson, he didn't make many mistakes, and I think Nelson and Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna, there was one other which eludes me at the moment, but Nelson, they're very clever out the car as well as in the car. Nelson especially was very devious in hiding. If he found something which was quick, he'd sort of hide it round here a little bit, you know, and then you'd find out about it. Obviously, just warm up to the grid or something like that. But no, I mean, Alain Prost was a great tactician out the car. Too political for me, but yeah, there's a lot of things that can be learned.
Well, what about you, Nas? What was Nigel's strongest quality?
Well, he was a quick driver, you know, very strong, racing from the beginning to the end, very hard. You know, it's like I said, like he said, in those times it was very difficult to keep the car together all race. You have to be very gentle and with the gearbox or the engines and these and that to keep the car finish the race. It's only to be quick, you know. It's you have to. But he was very good. No, the reason if you win the championship, you are very good. Yeah.
Did you get along well off the track when the race was over? Did you talk to each other? Ever had a beer together?
We have a normal, good partner in the team. You know, yeah. Of course, sometimes you have to hide something. You know, like in I don't know what year was it, 86 or 87. No, but here I done all the dirty job for have the axle suspension work. When the thing was working, the team didn't let me use anymore. Things like that. But sometime I did a test in Portugal, and I found out to have a use free differential was very good in the dirty circuit. The car don't get any understeer, you know. And I convinced they put this free differential on the T car, and before the race I chose for the T car, and I knew it was much better. But in those times, we was competing.
And we were teammates.
Imagine we are competing each other.
Even though you were in the same team?
No, we are alone in the championship. And it was me and him. And like I said, we are competing with the same car.
There was no team play like today?
Huh?
Like today, one Ferrari driver helps the other Ferrari driver. That didn't help.
But it's more transparent now, because the thing is, the cars.
I mean, today, Nelson, I'm sorry, you're looking like today, like Massa lets Alonso go, so he has a chance.
It's not like that. So there's a big difference in the championship. One is fighting for the championship. One is tens in
so
the
you
championship.
think it's okay?
Well, that's for sure. If it was me like this, for sure, I let him buy to win, for the team win the championship. But we are different. We are fighting for each other in the championship, and nobody else could win the championship. Only we two. You know,
only you two were fighting for the championship.
And that's quite more difficult. No?
That's what you were saying, Nigel.
Maybe.
More or less. Maybe. I'm sorry. Well, who was?
It's just, sometimes there's more challenges that come your way that you shouldn't have. Nelson's totally entitled to do what he wanted to do as a driver. But the engineers in the team should be more transparent, and there was a problem at times where an engineer would not tell the truth.
Did it bother you back then?
Well, I just think it wasn't very helpful, because, I mean, I'm a racer. If you look at all my racing, and I won't mention other people's names, you know, not Nelson so much, but there's other great racing drivers who have won championships with crashing into people and that.
Oh, yeah, we've never done that.
You know, we don't do that.
We never done.
No,
in no championship we've done that.
No.
That's the truth.
And I think that's important, because, you know, I lost a couple of championships. I was runner-up 3 times, so I could have been world champion 4 times. And if I would have...
In a very close runner-up.
Well, if I'd have been a different driver in all those championships, you know, I could have won more championships. But the championships that I won I did in a sportsman manner, and I'm really pleased and thrilled, and that's why I have the reputation worldwide that I have, and I'm very proud of that.
Yes, and today you're here together, 25 years for a publicity.
Alive.
Alive.
Alive, you're alive. And you're racing each other again.
I can't wait to have him off the circuit, I tell you.
Another day, a journalist asked me, being honest, who was the best, you and Senna? I said, I'm alive.
Yeah.
That's harsh. Well, we'll take another short break, fazemos mais breve intervalo e voltamos para o último bloco de entrevista com Nelson Piquet e Nigel Mansell. Esse Linha de Chegada entrevista volta já.
And a lot of things have to change, Most racing in Brazil is a complete disaster.